Bruce, what's the challenge of facing a team that doesn't take a lot of penalties, being a team that doesn't take a lot of penalties yourself?
Well, it's 5-on-5 game, probably, right? Which we're a good 5-on-5 team. That's what's in front of us. If the standard will be the standard. Some nights it's a little tighter, sometimes it's looser, whatever. Teams adjust. I think you get this far along, you figure that out. Obviously, we have a good power play. If the standard gets tighter or they call a lot, well, I mean, we're okay with that because we're good on the power play, but we're not used to it either. So, but it would free up our offensive guys for sure. So, but that's out of our control. These are the best officials this time of year. They call it as they see it, and off we go, right? So it just means it's more 5-on-5 hockey, and that's where your depth can take over in a series, and we feel we have good depth. So we have no issue with 5-on-5. If that's the way it's going to be most of the night, we just got to be a little better in a few areas in that 5-on-5, and we'll be fine.
Bruce, you obviously don't want to justify a loss, but when you look at how your team played last night, it's easy to say, that's not my team. That's uncharacteristically the Golden Knights with self-inflicted wounds. Does it make it a little easier to say, okay, we're better than that?
Well, it's correctable. So as a coach, you see it right in front of you. Okay, we fix 10 minutes of puck management. What did they get? What did they get on us? Now, time and score, right? They're up 4-0. They're not going to try to make it 10-0. You know, they're a good defensive team, so you got to factor that in. That they're going to be a little more cautious. They're 5 back. They're not in attack mode. They're going to do everything they can to stay out of the. How do teams get back in the game when you're behind? You get power plays and you get odd man rushes usually, right? So they were going to eliminate those, and they did. So good for them. They played winning hockey when they needed to. It opened up the game for us a little bit in the O-zone, so there's some things we can look at from there and say, okay, we did have the better of the play from there on, and a lot of it was O-zone play, so let's take that into a 0-0 game tomorrow night. Start that way, you know, so that we can create that way and get offense from that. The rush game hasn't been there a lot for either team. They scored goals last night because we mismanaged pucks. It wasn't breakdowns in the neutral zone or defensively. We mismanaged pucks, and all of a sudden they're gone, right? So that's fixable. Manage the puck. It's a game of mistakes, so you'll never be perfect in that part of it. But we have to be better in certain areas with what, you know, the decisions we make with the puck. And that should be the first thing that will get us back on track. I didn't hate our game defensively in terms of how we took care of the front of the net, et cetera. There's a couple of slot chances. Yeah, we got to be tighter. There was the one that went on the back door right before they scored. I think it was Xcel, maybe, I forget. It was a lefty to a lefty, where a weak side winger has to be more aware. So we know that. That got us in the first game. So that's an area, okay, that's a tendency now that we got to fix. After that, there's a lot of puck management we just need to be better at. The net front battles will always be there. Foligno's a big guy, his goal. That's like Hurdle's goal, right? They're not easy guys to move, so you're going to have to deal with that. But the rest of it, I just thought was self-inflicted. So there's always going to be a few things, but we're not blowing up everything up and saying, hey, we got to change the way we play. We just take care of the puck for starters.
There was a 4-forward look after a timeout there. Is that something you might go to?
It was a way to get Jack maybe some extra touches offensively. Carly, we've done that with in the past. The D might not like it because they're not, but listen, it's for the good of the team. We're down 3 goals. We're going to, you know, maybe try to open it up that way a little bit. It's a little risk, but I don't think too much into that. It's just an opportunity, like I said, to get a more dynamic forward out there that maybe would attack from the blue line as opposed to guys that are used to shooting from there, just something different. That's all. Wouldn't probably ever see it again unless we're in the same situation.
It seemed like a lot of the giveaways breaking out of the zone were in the middle of the ice, and it seems like they're really trying to hold the walls. Do you want to use the middle of the ice to break out, or would you prefer to still try to?
Well, I think if we work backwards, the fourth one was in the O-zone, so we weren't breaking out. We were trying to score, and we got into the middle and probably made a bad read on where they were and where we can handle pucks. There was the one by Zuccarello. We were kind of in between that gray area, just inside our blue line, but not below the goal line. I think we just mishandled that, so I don't know that there was any intent to go up the middle or the wall. But in general, if they take away the walls, the middle is an option if it's clean, so we'll use that. That's how Nick Waugh scored, or how we scored the winning goal in Game 1. We went through the middle of the ice to Nick Waugh, and he kicked it wide. So if that's an opportunity to use that, we will. But it's not like our 100% game plan, if that's what you're asking. It's an adjustment. If they're wide, we'll use the inside. If they're inside, we'll try to use the walls. The walls are always safer, usually. You know, a puck battle there, it usually doesn't end up coming back just quick. So when you do use the middle, you got to be efficient. And but when you do, when you break through the middle, if they're taking away the walls, well, you got rush chances. So it's something you got. It's a risk-reward situation, and we feel we have guys that can make those plays, but we didn't the other night.
Did you speak to the players this morning, or
No,
when's
nobody
the
came
next-
in. Right to the plane today. So
When's the next time you'll talk to them, and
tonight after, once we get there.
what's the message?
Well, as I told you the other day, it's pretty accurate, is get better, right? We want to get better after every game. So the message will be get better. How do we get better? Okay, we'll dive into that. I'm going to go through all the X's and O's. That's stuff that stays between us and the team. But we will address puck management quickly, because listen, guys know when they've made plays and when they haven't. I also recognize it's a game of mistakes, okay? So we got to take care of the puck in certain instances. That's a given, right? So we'll move past that. Talk to players individually. What are they seeing? And hey, less is more sometimes, right? You know, like just play the game in front of you. So there's a little bit of that messaging. And then, you know, we'll address what we did to get back in the game. Okay, let's take this from, we did take it the first 5 minutes. I liked our start, actually. And we'll try to use that game plan from the puck drop tomorrow. And that'll be essentially the messaging. We're not going to talk about history and all that stuff. It's 1-1. These guys have been in enough playoff series to know that it's a best of 5 now. Minnesota has home ice advantage. That's what's in front of us. But we're much more worried about Game 3 than worried about the whole series right now. How do we get back in the winner's circle? And that's what we'll talk about.
It's not a secret. You look at the score sheet. Their top guys have had a big impact on the series, and yours have not yet. How do you address that with the individuals?
Well, I think they can self-analyze as well and see that in a short sample size, you're right. You're right. I don't necessarily think our top guys have played poorly. So I'm not going to sit there and say, well, these guys, of course they got to lead our team. And that's it. So I'll talk to them about that, try to just stay on their game. How can we help as coach? Like, is there a matchup maybe that works better for you guys? We haven't matched hard against Boldy. I've said this, we have different lines that could play against them, and I do believe in a shared responsibility over the course of playoffs. It should make you better. That's always open to debate. That's just how I feel. We won't have that luxury there, so maybe that'll be easier for everybody. We're just going over, you're playing against who you're playing against. But we have a bit of that mentality here, Gary. We kind of try not to sit a line for, if they sit a line, we're not going to say, okay, you're never going to play until they come out. I think that disrupts your rhythm. So what we'll do with our top guys is try to give them a pep talk. Some guys will need a hug today. They'll get it. Tomorrow morning, we'll get back to work and what the game plan is.